up to me saying, yo, you gotta play this Sonic game. Then I look at it, it's Sonic holding a sword. What? I mean, come on, what's the deal with these storybook games, huh?
They're weird, right? Conceptually, I mean, you read a book and then you say, okay, this shit is fire, but what if it had Sonic in it though? There's a very specific space that Sonic occupies where it's weird, but not too weird. Like there's a 6-foot-tall crocodile with his ninja chameleon buddy who work as detectives. But he's also gotta pay rent. Let's not get crazy here.
Darn, I forgot to pay the electric bill for the office.
And Sonic has always thrived on this weirdness. There's probably a real name for it, I don't know, but you don't gotta be a genius to see it. If any Sonic game goes too much into either direction, you notice it. It feels a little off. I think the inherent vibe of whether something feels Sonic-y enough is derived from that specific, one-of-a-kind sense of wonder. From the worlds to the characters to the storytelling. But I'm getting ahead of myself. First, we gotta talk about Spider-Man. So you know about the hero's journey, right? It's from this book called The Hero with 1,000 Faces by a dude named Joseph Campbell. He basically says that every tale follows and can only follow this very specific structure, the hero's journey. He also said that whoever likes and subscribes has some big fat nuts. Really ahead of his time, this guy, anyway. Now, that's kinda dumb because his initial framework was very strict and specific, but I also can't deny its prominence is fucking everywhere. There's a very high chance that your favorite story follows some kind of a hero's journey. It's just a pretty solid framework to use because essentially it's a more complicated 3-act structure, with the first act being the setup, where you get introduced to the characters, relationships, and the struggles, then boom. The inciting incident is what kicks everything off. Shit already hit the fan, bro. The status quo is gone. Nowhere to go but Act 2. The confrontation is where you face the conflict directly and you fail over and over again. The theme just bashing you over the fucking head until it doesn't. By the time you're in Act 3, the resolution begins. And with one final climax, you're finished with your journey. And it's at this point that a lot of you are probably asking, Al, what the fuck does this have to do with Sonic? Well, that's the thing, it doesn't. Try this for a sec. Pick your favorite Sonic game and try to apply this to it. I don't think you can, because the principle of the hero's journey is a transformation from ordinary to special by gaining something or losing something else. And that's just not how Sonic stories work. Sonic doesn't make this journey. Heroes isn't about Sonic learning the value of friendship, it's about the value of friendship and we learn it through Sonic. You can't have him learn it all over again, he already knows it. You can't teach him to slow down and smell the roses, he already does that. You see how every time they try to teach Sonic a lesson it's a little forced? Teaching a lesson is absolutely fine, but using him as the conduit just won't work. It's the biggest pit you can fall into while you're writing Sonic. Understandably so, the hero's journey is so fucking ubiquitous. In fact, it's what a lot of adaptations do. They change Sonic's character for the journey to work. That's why getting mad at Archie or the movies for not being faithful is valid, but also kind of dumb because they're so far removed. Like they're clearly not trying to be accurate adaptations or canon, unless they are. Allegedly, I don't know, it's weird. Anyway, focus. This is what we're talking about. Game Sonic, focus. The backbone of the hero's journey is a philosophical idea that every person goes through one of their own, and these stories help guide us through it. That's why it's so important for a Spider-Man story to be so human. It's a direct reflection of the ups and downs any person goes through, rather than one who embodies some central static value or ideal. Peter, or any other Spider-Man, embraces his humanity. All the shit he goes through is what makes him grow. It's what makes us grow.
Probably not you specifically. I think it's a metaphor.
To cut it short, you're not supposed to find Sonic relatable. Not on a personal level anyway. Listen, Sonic is flawed. Sure, he's still a person, one who you can relate to. Everyone loves a chili dog, right? But the main appeal of his character isn't whether you can fit in his shoes or not. You like Peter because you relate to his struggles, and seeing him overcome them inspires you to do the same. Sonic inspires you by existing.
Now, when I was 15 years old, I had a very important person in my life come to me and say, "Who's your hero?" And I said, "It's me in 10 years." So I turned 25 10 years later. That same person comes to me and goes, "So are you a hero?" And I was like, "Not even close." She said, "Why?" I said, "Because my hero is me at 35. So you see, every day, every week, every month, and every year of my life, my hero's always 10 years away. I'm never gonna be my hero. I'm not gonna attain that. I know I'm not, and that's just fine with me because that keeps me with somebody to keep on chasing.
So, you know how to write Sonic. Great. You're already ahead, buddy. Put him in a story then. Yeah, motherfucker, you do it then. If it's so easy, what's the plot, huh? You do it! Sonic is versatile as fuck. You can put him anywhere. Literally anywhere. When Naoto Oshima calls Sonic a fairy, he's not being cute and gay. I can say that. It doesn't matter where or when or how big or small the problem is. Sonic will show up when you need him. That random moment of confidence, a stroke of brilliance, a shining ray of hope. A fairy. Pretty awesome when you start seeing this. It's exactly what some of my favorite stories do. It's why Sonic's supporting cast and random one-off companions are so important, because they're really the ones taking the spotlight. Silver's story is about Silver, Shadow's about Shadow, but Sonic's is about Elise. The story is about whoever Sonic's with, and through him, the companion is inspired to do whatever they need to do for the story, you know, whatever the theme is. This is where you just empty out all the development and the character arcs you want, but remember, Sonic himself doesn't change. A character arc happens because the way a character exists initially is challenged. Their core convictions fail them, making it so they have to experience change. Now, do they have to change? Not necessarily. A character arc doesn't have to be an arc like this, it can be like this. But none of this shit even matters when you're talking about Sonic, because his convictions are never challenged in the first place. That's what being static means. It doesn't mean he's flawless, it means when you're dealing with a super complex character like Shadow, there's a lot of drama you can get out of his mindset and conviction, even if he sticks to them. With Sonic, he doesn't even give a fuck. Forget changing. This motherfucker is never even tempted because his convictions are what drive the story forward, not the other way around. He is the one who inspires change. We literally have so many characters for that specific reason. But I'm sorry, okay? I'm being anal about this. I apologize. I'm just saying, okay? It's really important to keep in mind that Sonic isn't serialized. I know we like to pretend that there's this grand overarching story with an intricate timeline and world building where fucking everything connects. I'm like, no, man, come on. Be serious. Serialized implies that there's some kind of ending or conclusion we're moving towards, right? Like Avatar or Gravity Falls, where a story definitively ends. And Sonic just isn't this. We're gonna get Sonic games until he stops making money, or the movies take over, which is equally as bad. I think it's beautiful when I finish a Sonic game and turn off the TV. These characters, these worlds, they don't stop existing. They live on without me. And the next time I come back, they're right there. With a new adventure, new twist, and new ways to utilize these characters that I come back for. That's the basis of episodic storytelling. Like, if someone asks you, hey man, I really want to get into Sonic, where should I start? You don't tell them to play them in order, like they can, but fucking they're not gonna miss anything. Like they put up Sonic 3 like, yo, what the fuck, who's that? Unless it's explicitly a follow-up, episodic stories give you everything you need to know at the start.
Who the fuck is that?
Dude, it's Marceline, the vampire queen.
Oh, thanks, man.
It's why it's so important for everyone to always be in character, because at any moment, some kid can stumble onto Sonic, get a wrong impression, go on the internet and start fighting with some fucking nerd like me. Now I gotta deal with this shit. Adventure Time, Lupin, Seinfeld, Bebop, SpongeBob. It doesn't matter what episode you jump in. An episodic series doesn't rely on its continuity. Now, obviously, we have story arcs over multiple episodes, or the fact that you just get more enjoyment out of being a fan. But for the most part, every story stands on its own.
Hey, long time no see. How you been? Oh, me? I'm still me. Enough chit chat. We'll catch up on the way. Come on, let's get this party started.
God fucking damn, bro, we're here. Finally, I gotta talk about what I think is the perfect structure for a Sonic story. Kisho Tenketsu is described as this mysterious, superior method of storytelling from the East. The structure with no conflict used in literature, such as rent a girlfriend. I'll give you my explanation because I don't think any of this shit is helpful. To put it simply, Kisho Tenketsu is the art of the 4-panel comic. Beginning, development, twist, conclusion. That's it. It's not some mythical fucking Eastern way of living. It's a simple rhetorical device they used in poems in ancient China. And since then, we've been using it in comics, movies, and even game design. It's literally how they make Mario games. You get a power up, you learn how it works, then there's a twist, and you finish the level with it. It's amazing how intuitive it is. So you can imagine how fun it would be to write a story using this as a structure. So, how? You don't need a guidebook for this intro, just drop me into the world, whatever's going on, it doesn't matter. It's especially easy with Sonic since most of the time, it's his perspective and he's really charming and cool. There's always something to chew on with any conflict that he faces. And yes, there is conflict, obviously. Sonic still has battle shonen DNA. Most of the shit is conflict. It's just that the conflict doesn't drive the story. The planet breaks in Unleash and that's a conflict Sonic deals with, but that's just the plot. It's not what the story is about, so the game doesn't treat it as this big emotional thing. Instead, it shifts its focus to Chip and his story because he is the emotional anchor of this whole thing. Me wanting to explore the themes completely hinges on me being invested in whatever setting you put me in. So first impressions, vibes, tone, intrigue, it's really important for the opening scene to be impactful, emotionally or otherwise. Because what follows key is where most of the story happens, and it is not exciting at all. It just consists of you taking in the world, using whatever the plot is to explore both the setting and the characters. It's one of the reasons why Sonic X is really fucking boring, because as a show, it can afford to take its time before everything goes crazy. But almost the entirety of season 1 is a slice of life anime. You know, every story technically is, it's just that Sonic's life is really exciting. You know how they say Ghibli movies don't have plots? Like nothing happens?
Yeah, Totoro sucks. I think that's boring as shit.
Not my goat! Not my goal! I really think if you're actively looking for the thing to happen, you're not gonna see it, because this is it. Is it boring? Maybe, but before I know it, oh shit, I'm crying over trees again. What? This is terrible writing advice, but it really is just vibes and feelings and shit. Everything goes as you'd expect. Nothing even really changes. You just spend time in this world as it is and was before you got here. My favorite episode of Sonic X is about Sonic bitching a meeting with the president so he can take his friend to this island she really wants to see, but can't. That's the whole episode. And it ends with Sonic watching as her father decides to make more time for her. Like a guardian angel. Right when you need him the most. Essentially, it's 06. Another story where nothing happens. Thematically speaking, it's about Sonic helping this girl with a burden bestowed upon her, all the while moving through this much more exciting plot, because 06, it's not about Netflix, it's not about time travel or the world ending. It's about Elise learning to let go, to not be a slave to her responsibilities as a princess, and to be free. That freedom, that's Sonic. He's the literal personification of the theme, as he often is. It's admittedly very fucking funny how different Sonic's story is from Shadow and Silver, because it focuses on this one girl's personal struggles where all the cool shit's going on in the background, but in essence, that's the point. The better half of the story is spent on making you invested in these characters, laying the groundwork for what's to come. 10 is what we remember Sonic stories by. Think of Metal Sonic and Heroes, Gerald's plan being revealed in SA2. Something that shakes up the narrative to the point where everything before it just seems pointless. But it's not. Because the whole point of 10 is to test your emotional connection to the characters by turning everything you know upside down. The harmony you established, every foreshadowing, every bomb you planted and showed blows up. And not necessarily in the form of a plot twist. It can be as simple as revealing something that puts everything you went through to a new perspective. That's why I don't like calling it a twist. I prefer chaos.
game, Endeavor. All bark and no bite.
Sonic Adventure's whole marketing revolves around this one sequence, and it doesn't even happen until after every campaign is already finished. Like, you see the fucking credits roll, and then the game hits you in the head with the biggest thing it has to offer. The very fact that there's even a story after the credits roll is kind of a twist. You notice how a lot of Sonic games end more than once? It's the whole thing with the final story. Yeah, you're finished with your little ALtheBoi tournament.
Fucking aliens.
You thought you beat Eggman's evil plan, that's sweet.
Execution via firing squad.
Fuck it, we killed Sonic. Now generational trauma has manifested itself in the form of a sun god. Attack on Titan has like 6 cities. You spend an entire campaign basically vibing, then shit hits the fan. The funny thing is, foreshadowing isn't even necessary. It can be some dumb shit, and if you're good enough, the audience just rolls with it because it's fun and cool. You can even you can write this part first and then work backwards to make it airtight. It's fucking awesome. Ketsu is the aftermath of the twist and how the characters deal with it. Now, it doesn't have to be some big ass climax. The thing is, this is Sonic the Hedgehog, baby! Don't forget the heart though, okay? Underneath all this cool shit is a deconstruction of our themes, just like any good shonen. Sonic Adventure wouldn't hit nearly as hard if we didn't actually witness why Chaos was so pissed off in the first place. A lot of these bittersweet resolutions work because of how well their setup and subversions were. It's why even though Shadow came back, his death still hits, because the game is dedicated to show him off as much as possible before resolving it with him. Now compare him to like Sage, who the game just expects you to have an emotional attachment to just because she's cool, and then she dies, and I'm like, damn bro, I barely know this kid. It's like going to a random guy's funeral. Like, is it sad? Fuck, I guess. Going back to the storybooks, different approaches, both are still bittersweet. Secret Rings barely has an ending, and it's fucking sick. I keep going back to these games because they're the most literal presentation of a Sonic story, because he literally falls out of the fucking sky into this pre-existing conflict. He is the inciting incident. The plot doesn't happen to him, he happens to it.
The legendary Blue Hedgehog, having saved the world of the Arabian Nights, ran endlessly until he found his way back into his own world. Along the way, he had many adventures, but those are stories for another time.
Yeah, we beat the bad guy, but we still have shit to deal with. Not everything is fixed like that, and that's okay. We tried our best, and that's all that matters. This world will go on even after we stop watching, just like how it existed before we came into it. It's that realism I talked about again. Because you don't often get closure for things, but you know it's gonna be okay. You've done it before. What's another challenge? Don't worry about it. You've lived so far, right?